The talking, nagging, lucha watching, puro viewing, indie supporting, drinking, cursing, son of a gun of a podcast. Join former pro wrestler and promoter Dave Dynasty and co-host Ike Isaacs as they talk wrestling and interview those within the business, bringing positivity back to pro wrestling. This is the Dave Dynasty Show.
And welcome to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am your host, Dave Dynasty. Thank you for joining us however you do, whether it be on iTunes, SoundCloud, or YouTube. And however you do, please make sure you rate, review, comment, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. We do appreciate you joining us. We are the podcast attempting to bring positivity back to pro wrestling and also trying to promote Indiana wrestling, right? And a little more generally the Midwest wrestling, but we support wrestling in all around the world. But hey, we're trying to turn some eyes onto the Indiana wrestling scene here, right? We're trying to make the world see that, man, there's some good stuff in Indiana, right? There's some good talents, some good promotions. And as we're going to explore today, there's a great history in Indiana. And we have one of the components of that here today, the legendary international playboy, Bobby Colt. He was a mainstay for Dick the Bruiser back in the late 70s into the 80s. Wrestled in other places, but we know him here on the show from the WWA, right? So that's what we're doing today. We have a great interview with Bobby Colt. My co-host Ike Isaacs conduct that interview. It'll be coming up in just a minute. Make sure, like I said, like I've been saying for the last few weeks, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube because we are helping share the history of Indiana wrestling. We're sharing lots of great old episodes of WWA television, Dick the Bruiser's group. Hey, I know some of you. I've heard the feedback. Some of it, you know what? Some of it is kind of weak 80s, but it's still a piece of history. But we do have a lot of other stuff, right? We're starting to upload early 80s and 70s, and this stuff is really, really good. And I would hold it out there against anything pretty much in the wrestling world and the wrestling archives. We got a lot more stuff we're going to share on there, so make sure you look us up, The Dave Dynasty on YouTube. You can also get all the podcast episodes and lots of other great stuff. But these WWA memories have been very, very popular, these episodes. So make sure you subscribe to us so you don't miss out on any of that. We're going to take a quick break right now, hear from one of our sponsors. And when we come back, we have that amazing interview with the international playboy, Bobby Colt. So stick around.
Visit LuchaMaskUSA.com for official high-quality Lucha masks and merchandise, straight from the luchadors themselves. They have a huge and always growing inventory, so check back often. That's LuchaMaskUSA.com.
And welcome back to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am your co-host, Ike Isaacs, and today I am joined with yet again. Doing today?
Doing fine. How about you?
Doing pretty good. All right. So where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Ohio.
Okay. Where do you reside now?
But I've basically lived in Indiana since 1982, so I guess that kind of makes me a Hoosier now, huh?
Maybe a little bit. So, when you were younger, I know how it goes with a lot of wrestlers, that they usually have some kind of past in sports of some kind, but I didn't know how your childhood was. Didn't know if you played sports or not.
I really didn't play a lot of sports and stuff. My mind, ever since I was a little kid, was focused on wrestling. I started going to wrestling when I was to matches with my parents when I was like 5 years old. So.
Oh wow! So, what are your first memories of wrestling? So you said you went when you were younger. So I wonder, what are your first memories?
Not really dating myself at that. I mean, seeing guys like Blue Fez, Johnny Valentine, Buddy Rogers. And, the stars of the time that, back then in the late 50s and 60s. So.
Okay. Right on.
And then, of course, you're on, of course, the original Sheik, Bobo Brazil, Mark Lewin, Don Kent, Pampero Freppo.
Oh, wow.
Those kind of guys that was in the area.
Okay. So then, who was if you had to say, who was probably your favorite talent back in the day?
Well, I guess probably my favorite one back then. Other than, Bobo Brazil was really high on my list as a kid. and there was a wrestler back then by the name of the Oklahoma Kid. He worked the Sheik's territory.
Oh wow. Okay. Isn't how it goes for everybody. But was there ever a moment where you just said, "This is what I want to do"? That wrestling is what I want to do.
Yeah, I was probably about 10, 11 years old when I told my parents that I want to become a professional. Like, that's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But obviously, it did happen. So when did you start training, and who trained you?
Well, I mean, whenever I tell people that I train myself, they just kind of look at me like, sure. But you know what it was is I watched TV, wrestling matches real extremely close. I bought every magazine that there was. Back then, there was probably 6 or 7 magazines that came out each month, and I bought every one of them. And I would study the holds and the moves and watch them on TV, and I would practice on. It was myself and 4 other friends of mine in school loved wrestling too. So we built a ring in the basement of the one guy's house, and we'd go down there and keep practicing stuff. And then as I got older, I actually went to a boxing gym that back in the 60s was a building that they used that they put on the wrestling shows back then. So it was kind of a cool thing for me to go there and train, and then but that's when I actually got in the ring and was able to start learning to take bumps, running the ropes, and then one of the guys came around that had wrestled, and he said, well, you need somebody to train with. I said, well, yeah, that'd be nice, So then we just started working together. But by that time, I'd already learned a lot of the holds. Basically the thing I could do an opening match and do a job and still get over okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously back then, it's a lot different than how it is now. You couldn't just email somebody and say, "Hey, I want to start wrestling." It was something.
Well, there wasn't any. I mean, like now, there's wrestling schools.
Yeah.
10 in the city. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks that they can train people, and I mean that's not putting people down per se, but because I mean I ran wrestling school along with was a head trainer for WCWO years back. So
okay,
but to me, you learn from the ground up. You don't go in and like a lot of these guys now, they go in, they train for 2 months, and they think they're ready to get in the ring and perform. And I'm like, no, let's talk about it 6 months down the road.
Yeah, most definitely.
At that early even, but
Yeah. So, but also another thing about kind of that era of wrestling that you kind of grew into was that people taught kayfabe. That was something that you got taught before you probably stepped in a ring, right?
Oh yeah, because whenever I first got into actually working, especially once I got working with Sheik, they would talk a lot of what they called carning. And that was a wrestling talk. I mean, they, kayfabe speech. That way people, didn't know what everything you were talking about.
Okay.
And, it's a learning process to understand sometimes what they were saying to each other. But, and they grew out of that like, everything else. I mean, as things started changing, I mean, people, they didn't care. Back then, heels and baby faces weren't in the same dressing rooms. They were separated, and you didn't have a whole lot of time to go over your matches before you got in the ring. So you had to perform once you got out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and definitely, like you said, it was different back then than it is now because the whole the whole mirage of kayfabe isn't really there anymore for wrestlers now. So
no, and that's one of those things that I mean, I all the way up until the end. I mean, I'm like, we all back then, before, let's face it, before McMahon's came along and was worried about paying out more money, and that's all the thing was over, was money. Whenever they got on TV and said, "Oh yeah, hey, this is predetermined, this is set up," Yeah, it was money. All that determination was. But because they didn't want to be sports entertainment or sports, because it cost more money in taxes, so they became entertainment.
Yeah.
And but I mean, I was one of those, like a lot of others. I mean, I protected the business to the end.
Absolutely.
And it's unfortunate that they get to that point and they destroy something that people protected for almost 100 years.
Yeah. It's been kind of a legacy that was handed down through the generations, and then one day it just kind of up and disappeared.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I understand that a lot of people, they okay. I mean, let's face it, psychology is, they knew, but they didn't want to be told. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was an escape for them when they went to the matches. That's an escape. It's an illusion, but an illusion they accepted.
Absolutely. Because I think most people, I mean, a lot of people still believed it was real, but I think, like you said, it was that illusion was an escape for them. So even if they thought it was fake, it's like they didn't think that when they came to their shows.
Right. And I mean, let's face it. I mean, except for some of the ones and stuff. I mean, back whenever I started, I mean, yeah, you can sit there and I always tell people and say, okay, well, wrestling's fake. It's like, first of all, no, okay? Fake is something that is not real. When you get in there and get your body slammed on the mat, you get hit with chairs. I don't care how, you work it, you take those bumps and all that. That is all real. There's nothing fake about that. So fake was always a word that really pissed me off.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you can say it's predetermined. Yeah, okay, it's fine, but there's nothing about wrestling that's fake.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you see all like these people who get in these rings, and especially if you ever hit. I know because Dave used to wrestle. Dave Dynasty, who does the show, he used to wrestle back in the day, and he would tell stories about oh yeah, I got hit in the head with a chair one time, and I couldn't see for about 30 minutes. So it's
I mean, because we were taught that, okay, if you want to be in the business, and I mean, it's not like now. I mean, the federation, the people are 20 feet away from the ring almost, or whatever it is. I mean, I'd have measured because I haven't been to their shows in years.
Yeah.
But still, they're a good distance. And I mean, and you can do things there that whenever we worked. For the most part, and even some of the talent nowadays, that the small little independent shows and stuff, the people are close because they have to be.
Yeah.
But you laid it in. I mean, if you couldn't take a chop across the chest or a forearm or one across the back or something like that, then what the hell are you doing in there?
Absolutely. So.
I mean, I was accused of being a little heavy-handed in my day, I guess. I mean, Bobo Brazil Jr. used to tell a story that I chopped him so hard across the chest that he wore my handprint on his back for a week.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know that I've heard a lot of stories about Bobo Brazil being pretty heavy-handed too.
Yeah, I mean, Bobo, I mean, there was a guy, as I said earlier, that I admired when I was a child,
Yeah.
That I looked up to as a hero. I mean, and let's face it, I mean, back in the 60s and stuff like that, especially in the late 50s and stuff, I mean, like, black wrestlers couldn't wrestle white wrestlers in a lot of places.
Oh, wow.
And Bobo, in fact, Sheik told me the story that the first time they ever had a black and white wrestle with each other was they were down south, and the guy that Sheik was supposed to wrestle didn't make it, and the one guy that Bubba Brazil was supposed to wrestle didn't make it. So Sheik said, "Hey, just put us in the ring with each other." And the guy's like, "Are you crazy? You're going to start a riot, you know?" And Sheik said, "I guarantee you one thing: by the time these people cheer," and he was right. They did.
Oh wow!
But again, Bubba was a great a friend. Whenever, to me, I guess jumping ahead from what you were talking about, I was able to eventually team up with Bubba when I worked at Dick the Bruiser. And we became the tag team champions. And to me, that was like super great because here's a guy that I idolized as a kid, grew up to be his tag team partner, and became a champion with him,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a work, but still, you know what I mean? It's just, it was like a honor on my part,
Absolutely. So, pardon me. So then, I want to jump back just a little bit in your career to at the beginning when you made your debut. So, I have some notes here, but my question would be, when did you make your debut? Who would you face, and what name did you work under?
Ooh. You realize that's going back 30-some years, right?
Yeah.
No, actually, almost. Anyway. Actually, 40 years, but I don't want to date myself. It was in Springfield, Ohio.
Okay.
And I wrestled a guy, was one of the Scuffling Hillbillies.
Oh, wow.
And that lasted about 8 minutes. Felt a lot longer, I guess, because, the first time going out there, I actually trying to perform, And I thought it totally sucked. And so I got some hillbilly and said, "Man, I messed. I don't know why you're complaining, But yeah, it worked. I was trying to be more of a perfectionist to try to make sure things was right.
That was your debut. So, other than that, though, were there any other places that you worked early in your career? Because I have some notes here. So, early in your career, where was it that you worked?
Well, I worked in Columbus, Ohio. I worked some in Kentucky. Did a few shows where whenever the Popos had Lexington. I went to just some of the other. I did I did a show for the old WWF way back then.
Okay.
And wrestled on TV and stuff, and wrestled Ivan Koloff.
Oh, wow.
And I tell you what, I was worried I was going to go out there and just, look bad or whatever. And he just told me, he said, "Kid, just listen to me and we'll do good." And Ivan surprised me. He gave me a lot of spots in the match that totally surprised me. He took drop kicks, he took flying head scissors, monkey flip out the corner. And I was like shocked because he's calling all this.
Yeah.
And, then of course, put him over and blah, 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 and went back. But it's like, I'm thinking like, wow, here's this guy that is a star, and he's giving, you don't even know me, he's giving me spots,
Definitely. So, also, early in your career, obviously your career was very illustrious. It had some expanse there, but also early in your career you worked at a German gimmick calling yourself Hans Mueller. Tell us about that. What was that about?
Yeah, well, that was after I'd already worked, in the Sheik's territory for a few years. And, unfortunately at that time, the territory was, down and going nowhere. And Don Kent, who was another great person that I looked up to as I got in the business. Don helped me out a whole lot. But anyway, George Cannon, who ran Newfoundland, Canada at the time, wanted a German wrestler.
Okay.
And because he had one running with Hartford Love up there for several years. So the guy that was doing the gimmick retired, and so Don, talked to George and said, "Hey," he goes, and George's like, "No." He said, the kid's okay, but he's not going to be able to pull. So Don's like, "Trust me." So, Don called me, said, "Hey, here's what I want to do. I'll bring you in as a German. You better go to Canada and blah, blah, blah." So I'm thinking, I got long hair down almost my shoulders and stuff at the time. And he's like, "What's your hair?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." But, being it was Don asking me to do this, I shaved it off. I already had a beard going, so I just, made it, shaved it down to a goatee, dyed the mustache and goatee, and got the outfit, went to the show, and they filmed in Windsor, Canada, where we did the TV. And went out there and just started doing the gimmick and stuff, and then they wouldn't let me talk at first because he didn't think I could do a German accent. So at any rate, Don got me to do that. I said, "Do it," and then after that they started interviewing me the whole bit. I worked with Hartford up in Newfoundland for the whole summer, and they put the strap on me up there and everything. And wow, here am I going from opening matches, doing jobs in the Sheets territory to, coming up here and working the main events.
Wow. So definitely during that time when you were doing that character, what was probably your greatest success as Hans Mueller?
Probably whenever Don King also was down in Puerto Rico, him and the Davidson brothers were down there. And I got a phone call from Don, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, sitting around waiting to, find some booking somewhere." He said, "Well, he found one." He said, "Get on a plane and get to Puerto Rico." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, sure, that's easy to do. I'll just go out and rob a bank and get the money." But so, Don being the guy that he was, he said, "No," he said, "just, he said, just get to the airport. There'll be a ticket there waiting on you. I'll pay for it and you can pay me back later." So, I did that, went down, and, I expected to just go down and, work some matches. Didn't know what I was going to, who I was going to be working or anything else. So I went down about 2 months later. I get booked against Jack Brisco.
Oh, wow.
I'm thinking like, okay, so what? And this is on a Sunday. We did a double show in Puerto Rico. So you did one on one side of the island in the afternoon, and then you came back to San Juan to do the main show at Roberto Clemente Stadium. So the first match, we went 45-minute Broadway. And then when we came back to San Juan, the referee came in and said, "Hey, what are you going to do for the finish?" And I told him, I said, "Well, ask Jack. I don't know, We went Broadway earlier." So he said, "Well, you need a finish. You're going to take the belt." And I'm going like, "No, nobody told me this." And, down there, how the boys are. They have a habit of ribbing each other on, and stuff. So
Yeah.
and I just told him, I said, "Yeah, right. I'm going to take the belt from Jack Brisco." Okay. So, and, again, I'm still young at the time. So, and so we go into the ring and, we get our instructions, and Jack looks at me. "Did you come up with a finish?" I said, "No." He goes, "Well," he said, "you better come up with something." He said, "Because when we leave here tonight," he said, "I'm getting on a plane." He said, "The belt's yours, so you better come up with something." So we just did a thing where, he shot me in the corner. I brought the knees up. He went down, put his legs on my shoulders, put my feet on the rope, 1, 2, 3. They gave me the belt. Then the referee told me to I'm putting it around my waist, and he said, put it over your head. I'm going like, okay, I'll raise it over my head. Big deal. And then as I'm leaving, I realized why he said that, because all of a sudden I started hearing bing, bing. Kids, as you're getting closer to the stands and stuff, they're heaving rocks at you.
Oh, jeez.
And so I'm thinking like, wow, I didn't experience that before. But, to me, that was pretty cool down there in my early career. I mean, to be able to, again, people talk about, oh, yeah, well, belts, this and that. But, I mean, when you're getting a win over a guy who was world champion 2 times, and, that, again, I don't know if a lot of people know, Jack could have been a shooter.
Okay.
So Jack knew a lot of ways to hurt you if he wanted to.
So wow, that's a pretty important milestone early in your career as Hans Mueller. So
oh yeah.
So definitely later on, you had a name. If I'm not, obviously it's your current name, Bobby Colt. So who came up with that name?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, if we go, going back, it was the thing that I was just going through different names, writing the stuff down, and and I always liked the Baltimore Colts when they were in Baltimore. And then, I was thinking different things, something different. I thought, oh, okay, hey, Bobby Colt, that sounds pretty cool,
Right on.
So that's what I went with.
Very nice. So then also, you had, there was someone else called Jerry Colt, and he was billed as your brother, and you guys teamed some. So who was Jerry Colt?
Be honest with you, I did not have anybody that I teamed with named Jerry Colt.
Okay.
There was a guy, I think, that I realized later on when I linked on the internet. Okay, but I never teamed with anybody as Colt, other than Boa Brazil.
Fair enough. So then my next question would be, in the 80s, you were a key player for Dick the Bruiser in WWE. So what was it like working there and working for Bruiser?
I mean, in the beginning, it wasn't bad at all. I mean, like, actually, when I first came over for Bruiser, I was in between gigs, and one of the workers came through, gave me a call and said, hey, taking, and he said, we're going over to Indiana. He said, one of the guys, couldn't make it. He said, you want to go over and make a buck? And I said, I'm always up for trying to make some money,
Yeah.
And so, there he said, well, you give it to open up and that type of thing. So anyway, we go over there. I had 2 matches. We had them on Friday and Saturday night. One of them I wrestled Bobo Brazil, which was great because Bobo and I had worked over the years with each other. And then the second one was with Spike Huber and Steve Regal in a tag team match.
Okay.
And then I just went back home, and all of a sudden, about a week later, I got a phone call, and here, and I was like, this is Bobby Colt. This is Dick the Bruiser. You need to get your ass over here, and I need you to work some. So I'm like, okay, hey, I won't. So I come over, and again, I thought it was just going to be, fill in for people and stuff, and then, I had one match. He was there, 10 minutes there, and came back after the match, and Menaker took me and said, he goes, you're in, kid. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm in? He said, Dick liked your work. He said, you're going to probably be seeing a lot of working with him. So, and that's just, all of a sudden I just started, going over guys and working semi-main events and then working main events with Dick.
Oh, wow.
And, I mean, I got to admit, I was impressed. I wasn't full of myself or anything, what I'm saying? But I mean, I felt that they must have saw something to want to bring me in and all of a sudden shoot me up to, that high on the card,
Yeah. So, the WWA was like, I mean, there was a who's who of Midwest wrestling legends. I mean, there's some of the greatest of the greats that wrestled in WWA. So, do you have any cool stories about some of the people you worked with there?
Well, like I said, you know, I mean, of course, Bobo. I mean, you know, Dick. I mean, you know, with Dick's reputation that he had, that I actually found him a lot easier to work with than I thought I was going to. And I mean, and you know, I mean, Dick again was being an old guy. I mean, he liked you that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, his was like, you know, don't go out there and being a damn sissy. He said, "You hit me, hit me." So I've been like, okay, because I knew I'd get it back if I did. So whatever, you know. But then I mean, you know, then Harley Race came in. It was, you know, again, 7-time world champion. I'm trying to just think all the different people we had back then, you know. Been years.
Yeah, like I said, we've talked to many people who've, you know, wrestled and gone through WWE.
I mean, like Wilbur Snyder. Yeah. You know, Wilbur was, Wilbur was the type of guy that, remember, I only had 2 matches with him, but both times he was stiff as hell.
Yeah.
And I mean, he slapped me across the face one time. I was in the corner. I was like, "Damn, dude," you know. But I think he did it to see how I'd react, and you know, the whole thing afterwards. You know, as I look back on it. But
I got you. So.
But yeah, but you know, look at all the different stars that came through Indiana. You know, so.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I mean, there were so many people that just came through here at some point that, you know. So, during, there was a period of time where you also made some TV appearances for the WWE. What was that like?
Yeah, you know, of course, whenever I went to WWE, or at that time, WWF, you know, they were just starting to push, you know, I mean, taking over the territories and that type of thing. And they had so much talent there that wanted to be part of it. And you know, that they weren't going to give. They weren't going to really. They didn't want to work with anybody that wasn't already an established star. Okay. In their eyes. I mean, the worst match I had there was with Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas.
Oh, really?
You know, yeah. I mean, I was in a tag match, and you know, I get tagged in, and you know, tried to do the heel thing, throw some punches, and then you know, Atlas is just standing there like, I don't feel nothing. You know, I'm just, you know, it's like whatever. But Atlas is the guy that was like for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've heard of.
Yeah, for a couple of reasons.
I've heard a lot about Tony Atlas.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of reasons I don't have respect for the guy, but I just won't say anything more about that.
Fair enough. So, pardon me. I was just going to say, also, beyond the many promotions that you were in my notes here.
Yeah, there was a mistake.
So, when was...
You know, that came about with WWE at the time. Then they started bringing in, you know, more guys. And you know, I guess part of it was that, you know, I'd already been here, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, and felt like, you know, they're, you know, being pushed down to the bottom anyway, and you know, I tried to, you know, come up with some different ideas, and you know, even offered to try to, you know, get some more towns, promote towns and stuff, and he's like, oh, no, I've already talked to these people, they're going to be, you know, helping us, and it's like, whatever. So, you know, I just had a couple other guys who went down to Memphis and said, hey, you know, they're looking for another heel to come down and stuff. We told them about you, and they'd, you know, seen you on Big TV and blah, 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 and, you know, why don't you come on down and work for them? Well, I go down and, you know, do my TV match, did my interview, And then they're like, "Oh yeah, man, this ought to work good and stuff." And then next thing I know, Austin Idol decides he wants to come back in, but he didn't like the idea because I was stealing his gimmick.
Oh wow.
Well, I mean, guess what? Idol, you stole your gimmick from Superstar Billy Graham. And that was basically, and we had a few words early on in my career, but anyway, that's basically what it turned out to being, that he didn't want me there stealing his gimmick because I used the figure 4 leg lock. I was from Las Vegas, Nevada, stealing his whole thing. So, and so they decided to have a match between me and Idol. Which, a match compared to what it would have, but again, he's one that didn't sell a whole lot for people.
Yeah.
Tommy Gilbert was a referee down there at the time. Tommy was a good wrestler in his own right in his day. He told me, he said, if they would be smart, they would book this right and book it for a few shows, and then book it for like the battle of the figure 4 leg locks, and or could work into loser's hair match, any of this type of stuff. He said they could work this, and I said, yeah, but they're not going to.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And so, yeah, I think I worked Memphis for maybe a couple months, and just told them this just wasn't for me. That the attitude and the whole thing. Of course, the money was another factor. And there's a reason they called Memphis a Slim Fast tour. So,
oh wow.
By the time you got paid, you paid for your gas, and if you didn't want to sleep in your car, you got a motel. That's pretty much took care of your pay.
Oh wow. So then definitely wasn't worth it at that point.
No, not to me. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was going to be go nowhere, make no money. So why was it bother being there?
I definitely agree. It sounds very pointless.
So I left there, came back to Indiana. Didn't work for Bruiser because he was ticked off with us. And then, so then I sent some information down to Puerto Rico. And this is the second time, of course. And then, they're like, yeah, well, I want to, bring you in again, as Hans Miller. So again, I had to shave my head and all that type of stuff. But they wanted me to team with Killer Carl Krupp.
Okay.
Down there as the German tag team. And so I went down, and again, we were supposed to take the tag team belts from the baby faces there at the time. It was Rock and Roll RPMs. And but that got nixed by the guy that was going to become the next, because he wanted to be, champion and stuff. So he kind of nixed that idea.
I gotcha.
But I spent 6 months down there. Got paid. Now, Puerto Rico paid good.
Yes, I've heard that from many people who've went down there and worked. So, pardon me. But later on, also, something else I have in my notes here is that in the early '90s, I believe you in Pro Wrestling International, you wrestled as Blackjack Bobby Colt. So how did that gimmick come about?
Well, I just didn't think, I had kind of gotten away from the business a little bit, sold the robes and all that stuff, and then of course, the bug kind of, got to me again. There was an opportunity to go back to work some, and I thought, hey, what the hell am I going to do here? And so I thought, well, okay. Now, Sam thought about it and thought, okay, I got a cowboy hat here, I got a vest and stuff, so I just decided to just do the blackjack gimmick.
Okay.
And it was, the gimmicks that I picked and stuff, it had to have some kind of I had to have some kind of a feel for the gimmick.
Absolutely.
And so I just felt that was appropriate. I felt good with that, so that's why I went with that.
Fair enough. So, obviously, over your career, you've had a lot of. It's been a illustrious career, I think, to say the very least. You've been to many, many places. So, at the end of the day, when was it that you did retire from in-ring action?
2001 was when I actually, I haven't. That's been. Yeah, I mean, there's been several times that I wanted to go back, but the vehicle just wasn't right. The people weren't right. Put it that way. And I knew that had no chance with the Federation. When I was with the Federation, let's put it this way. I mean, I did everything I thought I could do. I mean, I wrestled for them. I refereed. I took an announce for them. Anything to try to, say, hey, here I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the highlight of my career with the WWE was here in Indianapolis when I wrestled Macho Man for the Intercontinental title, So that was my highlight for that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a worthwhile highlight. I mean, that must have been a pretty incredible match.
And I mean, Randy, of course, Randy was a great worker. He took it and of course, I knew Randy for years, I mean, people tell stories about Randy and, Elizabeth and stuff. And generally any place we were at, and I know that you've heard that Randy was overprotective of Elizabeth.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, I mean, he was obsessed with her. But he would say, hey, Bobby, just, if Elizabeth wasn't involved in the match or he had to go do an interview or run in or whatever, it'd be like, just stay here with Elizabeth and stuff. I don't want anybody else around her. So I'll think if you can trust me that much, not that I had anything she would want, you know what I'm saying, but, still.
Yeah.
But yeah, Randy was very moody at times. So, but I mean, but when it came to business, let's face it, I mean, he drew a lot of money.
Yeah, most definitely.
And I guess the other thing too on that lines is that I had a couple matches that I went Broadway with people and stuff, and it felt good, but yet they just didn't have a spot for me.
I got you.
Pat Patterson, he tried a couple times to say, hey, he wanted to bring me in as Russian, the team up as Nikolai Volkov. And they kind of nixed that idea because it wasn't going to, Sergeant Slaughter had his buddy that he wanted to bring in.
I got you.
So, so that kind of, when I got nixed, and I knew that, it wasn't going to go anywhere, to me it was just time to go.
I got you, yeah. Just kind of that moment where you just decided to be like, all right, it's time to separate myself from that.
Well, yeah, I mean, people say, you got to be kidding me. I mean, you worked for the Federation, you walked away. Yeah, because if you're not going to go anywhere, you're not going to do anything with that, then why hang around?
Yeah. I've definitely heard that from people before that, they left that, they left the biggest stage in the mall because, if you can't fit, there's no point in being there.
Yeah, I mean, you go up there and, and again, there's no putting anybody down because I did jobs for years, but if all you're going to be is a jobber, then there's no sense of being there as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be part of the program, you're not going to have, you can do jobs for people, but you can have a spot where you can, shine here and there too. So.
Most definitely.
But, some of the guys there were were great to get along with. Others were not. Actually, one of the people that I had matches with that people were amazed was Adrian Adonis, because Adrian, they said, was moody. He would hurt people, or whatever. Several matches, Adrian, every time. I mean, he scared me. So, something I can really say about it. I mean, other people have my problem with it.
So definitely. So again, I know I've said this before, but it definitely sounds like your career was very illustrious. I mean, you had a lot of experience, and moving into this 2017 now, even your experience. So opinion, and this is kind of a more modern question. In your opinion, what are your opinions on modern wrestling compared to when you wrestled?
It's it's got more of an acrobat show.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody feels they have to be able to fly over the top and, to a group of guys. Everybody has to be able to do, I mean, it's all well and you get certain guys that look good doing that. AJ Styles. I mean, you expect AJ to get up there and do the flying, come off the, guys that have a worker. You got.
Yeah.
And he goes out and goes out there and he works. Whether he, I mean, then they got, you guys like, put Roman now. I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
And then, they push Roman Reigns down people's throats to the point that, people want a gay.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
I mean, if you're going to do anything with it, turn him heel. I mean, that's where he would much better be. I mean, as a babyface, he's just there. And, and Vince is, trying to push him for about 3 years now down people's throats, and it just isn't happening.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would definitely agree with those. I would agree with all those statements.
I mean, and you bring some of the guys back. I mean, like, you get Pop. I mean, you bring the Hardys back. I mean, again, the guys still work hard. I mean, they're in their 40s now, so, but they still go out and work pretty hard, I'm surprised Jeff Hardy can walk. Which someday he's not. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as far as working in, whether I worked for the Federation, whether I worked for, Canada, Puerto Rico, I mean, WWA, I mean, as far as, a lot of people want to pat themselves on the back and say, oh, well, I did this, I did. I mean, I'm happy that I was able to work these places, that I was, they felt confident enough in me to put belts on me and work the main events that I could help drop. I mean, but I'm not, I don't, to this day, I don't go around saying, well, wasn't for me, they would be drawn. They would have been. They'd just put somebody else in that spot.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy that they thought that I had enough talent at the time that, that it would help draw some people in. And we, I mean, it might have been the WWA title, but I can still say, hey, I was world champion.
So, definitely, like I said, this is, I mean, I love hearing stories from people who wrestled, to have that experience on their belt. I love hearing the stories and stuff like that. But we actually have some people out there who have some questions for you, some listener questions, if you will. People who, yeah, people who know about you and know about your career, and they have some questions for you. So.
This could be good or this could be bad.
Yeah, right. So the first one is Mickey from Illinois wants to know why you seem to suddenly disappear from wrestling.
Well, I guess basically because that I felt that I had run my course.
Okay.
I mean, as far as being able to provide for my family and stuff, I mean, wrestling wasn't going to pay the money to do that. So, I mean, again, I work the independent shows and stuff here and there and stuff, but as far as, I mean, let's face it, once the Federation killed the territories, it was kind of hard to go anywhere.
Yeah.
When we had the territories, you could go from, like here, you could go to Memphis, you could go to, Mid-South, you could go to Florida, you get, all these different places. And, I mean, once Vince took everything, I mean, then it kind of eliminated a lot of places you could just do that and make some money.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So, and I, unlike a lot of people, I guess I, told myself that, you had your run, let's face reality and get a job.
Definitely. So the next listener question is Bryce from Indianapolis, Indiana, wants to know what you consider your best match out of your career and what match stands out most.
Oh, good God. Wow. I'd like to be able to say I have one, but I really, I mean, as far as having what stands out, what, of course, if you want to have a big head, I could say, winning the title from Bruiser because he was, still big at the time.
Yeah.
Or, Jack Brisco, let's face it, it's really, to be honest with you, it's really hard for me to just pinpoint and say, hey, this is the best thing ever, or this is the best match. Because I had a lot of guys out there that I worked with. I mean, I'm not the type that's going to sit there and say, hey, man, I went up there and I threw this match. I can't do it by myself.
Yeah.
I had to have guys out there that was willing to work with me and, do the spots, do the things at the right time. And, they made me look good. I made them look good. So, it's just the idea. If you don't have somebody like that, then the match is going to suck.
Yeah.
So, but to be able to pick out one single match, say, hey, this is a highlight of my career, that's been, in effect for almost 40 years, that's kind of, I'm sorry, but it is kind of hard to say.
No, yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that too. It's hard, like you said, you've had a lot of great, fantastic matches, and it's hard to say this one's the best.
Yeah, and again, and then because of the people that I worked with, I shined because they helped me shine. I didn't go out there and do it on my own.
Yeah.
I mean, you get so many. I hear so many, and I listen to the posts, that you guys have and stuff, and you've got some of these guys out there. The whole interview, they're patting themselves on the back. And guess what? You didn't do that by yourself. You had somebody out there helping you do that.
Yeah.
And the fans, again, if it wasn't for the fans, we wouldn't have been where we were either. They help determine, a lot of people don't, pay attention to that. The fans determine a lot of the time where you're at on the card.
Oh, yeah.
By their reaction and by how they respond to you and that type of thing. So that's why, for me, when it was, and I got to admit, I enjoyed being a heel more than I did the baby face because I ring psychology and what you do with the people, once you get those people going in and stuff, and then, then you knew you had them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
so, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but I mean, people ask me, what would you change? I mean, yeah, of course, when you look back over almost 40 years, just things you would change.
Yeah.
But I would never change what I did as far as becoming a wrestler. I mean, that's, that was what as I told you, 10 years old, that's what I said I wanted to be, and that was what I strove to be. And I would, that's part of my life. I wouldn't change for anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would love to be, and I'll admit, I'd love to be able to go back in the ring again.
Yeah.
The mind wants to, the body says, hell no.
Oh, man. So, okay. So, yeah, I think we have two more listener questions. Ed from Louisville, Kentucky says, do you have any place or anybody that you wish you would have worked during your career?
Any place? Yeah, I never got to go to Japan. That was one of the places that I always wanted to go to.
Yeah.
Never was able to work it out financially. And I guess on the subject real quick, I almost got to go to the Middle East on the tour with Muhammad Ali, Bobo Brazil, and myself. So we had a meeting in Chicago with Herbert Muhammad, who was taking care of everything at the time. And I told Bobo to handle everything on our end. Well, they gave him, a number, and Bobo was like, hell no. And we're not going for that kind of money because you guys we're making in millions. And, so Bobo gave them a counter offer, and they said, we pay that kind of money, So they went over without wrestlers and just had the boxing. And that they were upset that they didn't bring us. So they didn't get all the money they were supposed to get. So, but I guess back to the question, I guess the person that I liked to have worked with and didn't probably would have been Ric Flair.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's face it, I copied a lot of Flair's stuff, so. And then of course in turn he copied it from Buddy Rogers, so I guess that was okay. So,
so it's okay. It was a chain of copying, so it's fine.
Hey, let's face it. I mean, our business is made up of copying other people's gimmicks, adding little things here and there, but still, it's just all copied Gorgeous George. So what can I say?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Including Muhammad Ali, in fact.
Oh, wow. All right, so I think we have one. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, that's the reason Ali went out there and did the things he did with running his mouth and stuff, because he's seen Gorgeous George do that and how the people reacted. So Ali sat there and thought, hey, I'm just going to be another boxer if I don't have something to draw people to, that's how that started.
Oh, wow. So definitely wrestling, run your mouth, and that's a cool fun fact. I never thought about that transition that he made running his mouth and boxing.
Well, and again, I mean, he would have been just another.
Yeah.
What drew the whole made him a star was on his mouth and the way he did. I mean, maybe people hate he'd have been happy. So, but
yeah.
That guy that goes out there. Puts on a pair of boots, trunks, and goes out there and tries to perform. So these are some sort of respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, these kids coming up now, to be honest with you, there's so many of them that don't have respect for the guys that came before them. I've seen that in the dressing rooms. I've gone down to WCWO shows a couple times, and, the young guys down there, they already think they're superstars. They don't have any respect for the older guys. And it's like, you can have that attitude and stuff, but, I mean, I had a guy say one time, he's a has-been. It's like, well, you know what? It's better being a has-been than never will be.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but not to mention the fact that if he won't step in the ring, we can see what happens for real. But
oh man, I'd like to see that. Just you get in there and just whoop them around a little bit.
Well, and I mean there was some younger guys when I was working and that had the attitude like, oh, you're an old man, and by that time, and had to wake them up a little bit. Like, yeah, I might be older, but hey.
You're like, I'll still kick your butt.
Yeah, and I guess, again, that, my pet peeve with all these younger guys coming up is that, again, there's no respect. As far as the federation goes, I mean, you got guys that have contracts that start at $75,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least. And in my day, I mean, when I first started, I was making $25 a match.
Oh wow.
And if we stayed at motels, couples would stay at a Motel 6, throw the mattress on the floor, and we would stay in the room and go to the store, buy bologna and bread, and things of soda, and that's how we would survive.
Yeah.
But then guys now have $1 million contracts, multi-million-dollar contracts, and you sit there and look at it going like, and I did this stuff for years and got zilch, so but but still, again, it goes back to the thing, what I knowing what I know, what I do to the skin, hell yeah, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
It was my life. It was my life for all those years, and I wish it still could be. I'm sitting, whenever I go down to the matches, sometimes, like I said, with WCWO, I'll go down once in a while, every 3 or 4 months or 6 months, because I know when I'm there, I want to be on the ring again.
Yeah.
Who wants to pay to see a 60-year-old guy, right?
Well, more popular especially is that people getting back in the ring and stuff and jumping around and getting back into things, So it's not. No, I don't want to say never, but never say never.
Well, if I didn't have to be honest with you, I had a problem with my knees and stuff that I do, which is again part of the sport. You're going to pay for it eventually as you get older, and the things you did when you're younger to your body's going to pay you back.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at this point. So, but, I still have it in my mind that, it'd be fun to have another go at it. If it only be, a couple matches and stuff, it'd still be fun.
Well, definitely. So I think we got, just get in there and whoop them around a little bit. That's all I need.
Yeah.
So I think we have one more question, and this one is actually a reoccurring question, so it'll be interesting to see your answer. So Gail from Cincinnati,
Okay.
yeah, it's reoccurring. I think I've had this question so many times, it's crazy. All right, so Gail from Cincinnati, Ohio asks, did you encounter a young Scott Steiner in WWA, and if so, what are your memories of him?
In fact, Scott came around after I had left.
Okay.
I just heard stories about here's somebody that started out humble, was of course his brother was already in the business, but started out as a young, good-looking kid, humble, wanting to run the business, and to end up to what he is now. I mean, just what a transformation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just. I don't know let's face it, I don't know if the steroids totally, shrunk his brain and might have made his muscles bigger, but it didn't do much for his brain, did it?
Probably not. I don't think it did.
It made him what most of us don't want to be, I guess. But, that was his thing. But, no, I just I never met Scott. Don't care to. Because he's one of those people in the business that I think that, he hurt himself and he hurt the business in the process, and that's the type of thing that I didn't like anybody. Be honest with you, that if they were hurting the business, they were on my list. So
yeah, no, understandably so. I think a lot of people feel that way.
Again, like if we go back to the idea of if you can, people say, oh, they love doing this, they love doing that. And I love doing wrestling. It's just the fact to go out there, entertain the people. And let's face it, we all, for the most part, not to say all, but most of us went out there and took chances with our bodies that, people be like, are you kidding me? To entertain people, And part of that was, let's face it, part of that was ego. because you wanted to try to upstage the person, behind you or ahead of you. You wanted to be the show. So, or in case of, was it Shawn Michaels, the showstopper?
Yeah. I'll say.
Or
Dolph
Ziggler, put on the show. But,
Oh, man.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't have I guess I don't have the passion that I did have because I can't go out and work anymore.
All right. Well, so I think as kind of a wrap up here, fans always like following people that they watched in their years and stuff like that. So fans like keeping up with people. So do you have any social media where fans can follow you and keep up with you as you just do your day-to-day?
Well, I'm actually, toying with the idea of putting a thing on Facebook just to see what kind of reaction I get from it. And, it's still some of the people that, like you said, some people remember matches 30 years later or 35 years later. I had a guy tell me not too long ago he's seen Spike Heber and I in a cage match back in the 80s, and who said the best cage match he ever saw. Guy's probably not that smart, but, but, still, if somebody tells you that remember from 35 years ago, it's like, okay, appreciate that, So it must have been something there we did that stuck in his mind, that we entertained him, so.
Definitely. So then, for everybody who's listening, be on the watch out for that. He might be putting up a page of some sort. But is there any other social media that you that fans can follow you at the moment, or is that?
Yeah, that's what I'll probably do here in probably about a month or so. Like I said, I've never done it before because then, let's face it, didn't figure people remembered. So.
Yeah. Well, people definitely remember. We had many fan questions for you, but we had to kind of narrow it down to 4 people.
Well, again, I appreciate this. It's able to, bring back some memories. They don't talk about some of the guys that, I worked with. Like I said, the Sheik, the original Sheik was great. Don Kent was a big influence on my career. And, again, it just, I've said it before, if it wasn't for the people that, you work with, the wrestlers, being out there for you and you for them, I mean, none of us would be doing this and making ourselves look great by ourselves. And the fans, of course, without them, you don't have anything to do anyway, so.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's about wraps up all my questions for you, Bobby. So first of all, I just want to say I really appreciate you sitting with me and having an hour-long conversation about all the stuff you did 30 years ago. I really do appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you guys. You put me on, so who knows? May have a follow-up and have something better to say.
Well, we're always open to having people come back on here and stuff, so. Thanks a lot, Bobby. I really, really appreciate it, man. And it's been an honor talking to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Come crack open a cold one and let Old Manser tell you a story.
King of Big Dog Style, Lairton Light Beer, the King of the Trailer Court, your favorite wrestler of mine, me.
This is Warner's Wisdom with Mance Warner.
Okay, people, here we go. Old Manser coming to you on a Dave Dynasty Show with another edition of Old Warner Wisdom right here. I'll make sure this bad boy's working right here. Okay, perfect. This is on the road edition. Old Manser is heading home. Spent all weekend down in New York City. I'll get to that in a little bit. Let me hit my intro here with all my catchphrases, because I know you people have grown accustomed to it and want to hear it every time. All right, this is Old Manser, the King of Big Dog Style, the master of the pop-up headbutt, your favorite wrestler of mine, me. Oh, Mr. Wackadoo himself. No knee pads needed. The King of Big Dog Style, the King of the Trailer Court, the Southern Psycho on Mance Warner right here. Okay, here we are on Warner's Wisdom. This may be a two-parter. This is a fun one for myself here. So let me first get on here. I've been on the road a long time this weekend. Out there with the carnies, we've been hitting the pay window, beating up people, making the towns. You people know how it go. Okay, so old Mancer down in New York City, in the Bronx. Everybody knows old Mancer is on his comeback up north, climbing that ladder once again to get to the big show down there, or up there, however you want to put it. Old Mancer ain't a geographical professor of this in this situation. So, everyone knows old Mancer over WrestleMania weekend went down there, got it to with old Disco. I made it back up the ladder, and then Disco Inferno was there. Mancer lost his cool because I got some heat with Disco and the whole booking team in WCW from the mid-90s to going into early 2000, 99 to the 2000s. Like, okay, I ain't gonna get into all that right now. Okay, so anywho, old Mancer down there in the Bronx hitting wackadoos on people, throwing some headbutts, some big boots. You know how old Mancer does it out there. Now on my ride home, got about 2 hours and 25 minutes left from what I'm seeing right here on the GPS here. Old Mancer gonna jump into the topic on this edition of Warner Wisdom here on tape studying and promos. Maybe I'll probably do promos first on this one, and then next time do some tape studying. I'll go in a little bit on tape studying. These are things that get asked to old Mancer at shows. Now, going on into this is advice. You people can take it, you can use it, or you don't gotta use it. That's on you. You can continue to be a dummy. I ain't calling nobody out, just saying you can continue to be a dummy, or you can listen to old Mancer. Old Mancer asks questions every single day. That's the only way you learn. Okay. Now, promo-wise, doing some promotional videos, doing some promos for your events. You should do promos every single show that you're going to be on. It ain't that hard nowadays, people. You got a telephone right now, huh? I got one in my hand, and I'm recording the whole podcast. It's going to go on to YouTube, go on to Facebook, go on to SoundCloud, go on to iTunes. You got a phone. Do promos for every show you got, every show you're going to. Now, this ain't even got to be pro wrestling. Maybe you a stand-up comedian. Maybe you paint homes. Maybe you paint trailers. I don't know. Maybe you're a cook. You trying to get a gig cooking. Do promos weekly. Now, if you're a professional wrestler, like myself, like old Mancer, you should be doing promos every single day. You ain't got to record every single one of them. Maybe you taking a shit at work, on company time, dropping a deuce, getting that company dime. Practice promos. You ain't even got to sit in there and yell or nothing, because then people think you crazy. Just sit there practicing your head. Practice making facial expressions. Work on doing promos every single day. If you think you just gonna wing a promo and it's gonna be good, buddy. Practice every single day. Record it on your phone. Have someone else record it for you. Do it in the mirror. Whatever you gotta do. Work on them promos, man. Because people ask old Mancer, "Oh man, I like that promo. How you do that promo?" Because old Mancer went and did the promo, baby. I'm doing them every day. I'm doing them right now. I'm doing them every second of the day. That's what you got to do. Don't be a dummy. Don't sit there and act like you the goddamn king and you ain't done nothing. Don't try to act like you the king and you the 40-mile promo king of the world. There's a whole bunch of them. I don't need to see no more of them. They drive me So practice them promos every day. Practice different facial expressions every day. Start that promo off with whatever you want to say, man. Just get to your point. Do it under 2 minutes. Oh, Messer's sick today, too. I'm out here still talking to you people. I'm a committed person in this, baby. I'm out here giving this wisdom, this advice to y'all, and I can barely talk. My throat's killing me. Oh, Messer right here eating dirty pussy and then doing these podcasts every time. I can barely talk sometimes. I'm out here making the towns on the road, driving 7 hours, meeting up with my crew, driving 11 hours, get to the show, tearing it up, tearing it down, driving another 11 hours, then driving another 6-7 hours. That's what old Messer does, baby. That's what you should do too. That's my advice. Like I said, you ain't got to take it. This old Messer out here giving free advice on here. It's back to promos. Get in there. Think to yourself what you gonna say, what you gonna talk about. I ain't telling you to write it all down because you sound like a damn robot talking. You know who you are. You know what you want to say. You know what it's all about. Say it like you'd say it. Get in there and cut that promo. Go to town. Have some fun. Think outside that box, baby. You got a phone. And then another thing. You at shows. You should be, if you try to make it in this industry, you should be at shows 3-4 times a week. Now, what is at shows? People think about it. I'll let you think a second while Master sits here and sips on a nice old light beer I got in this whole big old bag over here. So, you sit there and think to yourself while Master takes a sip. I'll give you a little time to think. Delicious, refreshing. I ain't gonna put them over because they ain't giving me no free products. But like I said before, any light beer company out there gonna send old Master free samples. By free samples, I mean cases of your light beer. I will put you over on the social media. I'll put you over on my Twitter, put you over on the Instagram, put you over on the SoundCloud, on the podcast. I do a lot of different podcasts out here. Old Master will put you over on all of them. Now, as I was talking about making towns, you should be going to shows. You shouldn't be just being 40 miles around wherever you at. You should be out doing shows. At those shows, I asked you a question. I said, what is at those shows? Well, unless you're a damn fool, there's cameras there. Correct? Right? I know I'm correct. Now, you talk to those people who had them cameras. You talk to the people that help run the shows, who want promos, who want material, who want things that they can put on the internet, the social media, on the Instagram or on the Twitter, all that. They want to put stuff on to the intranet. It's simple. They want to put it on there because it's promotional tools, people. So every show that you're at, you should be cutting a promo on your cellular device and uploading it to all your social media. Then when you get to your show, you should do your contest. Go to the booker, man. Go to whoever you got to talk to and say, hey, can I do a promo for the next show? And there you are. You do another promo. That's more FaceTime for yourself on the intranet. And you got to put over the company. It ain't magic out here, people. So quit spending your time standing around trying to look cool. Get them promos done after the show. Then go hang out, man. Then go talk to people. You can do all this and have time for a little bit of everything. Now, okay. I ain't going to go too long right here. I'm going to get into the tape study on the next edition. Because I'm going to go on a big old rant about that too. The whole point to this, people, is old Messer is out here making the towns, putting the boots to people, hitting the wackadoos, hitting the pop-up headbutt, throwing them in a dragon sleeper, beating people down. You ain't got to listen to what old Messer got to say. I'm just trying to help you out. You help me out, I help you out. It's the way it all works, people. Go out there, ask some questions. Don't act like you know everything, because then you look like an old dumb shit. Do them promos, work on them promos. Put a little time into your craft. That's all Old Master's saying. That's it. That's all Old Master's saying right now. I ain't trying to ruffle no feathers. I'm just out here trying to give advice. That's what this platform's all about. Warner's wisdom, baby. Got snot coming out my nose right now. I got these light beers on me. I'm tired as all get out. Okay. Old Master gonna get off here. You people have a good week. Ain't gonna be as good as Old Master's, but that is all right. No one said you gotta be as cool as Old Master, baby. All right. Next time, Dave Dynasty Show. Best part of Dave Dynasty Show. Old Master's part on Dave Dynasty Show. Warner's wisdom, baby. I'll see y'all next week. I'm gonna go into tape studying. The YouTube. You got your phone. You got the network. You got everything out there. I'll get all into that next time. So until then, this has been Old Master with another edition of Warner's wisdom. I can barely talk. I gotta get off here. Get back to my light beers. Get on home, man. That's what Old Master gotta do. I gotta get home now. I'm tired, people. I'm tired. All right. See y'all next time.
Visit our friends at the Masked Republic. Go to luchaloot.com and luchashop.com and use the promo code DYNASTY for exclusive discounts.
And welcome back to the Dave Dynasty Show. How about that phenomenal interview with Bobby Colt? What a guy. What an underrated talent. There's so many people that have not heard of Bobby Colt that should, and that's what we're trying to do here, right? We're trying to wake up the world to the history, the present, and the future, the past, present, and future of Indiana wrestling and how great it is. Whether it's having the legendary guests like Bobby Colt, like Jerry Graham Jr., El Bracero, all these Scott Romer, all these great guys that we have from history. Whether it's those guys or whether it is the current and future stars that are out there that we've had on, like Trip Cassidy and Ace Perry and all these great guys, Cole Radrick, all these great guys. You know, that's what we're trying to do here, right? We're trying to say, hey, wake up, world. Take a look here in the Hoosier State. We've got some great things going on now. We've had some great things going on in the past. You know what? Yeah, I understand there was a time period that Indiana wrestling was a little weak. Okay, whatever. Overall, Indiana wrestling is so underrated, and Indiana Pro Wrestling needs more attention. That's what we're trying to do in a positive fashion. Bring attention to the shows in Indiana, the talent in Indiana, the history of Indiana Pro Wrestling, and get it the attention it deserves. We thank you for joining us and helping us with that. Please share these things. Whether you're from Indiana or not doesn't matter. You should be able to appreciate this and these talents and this history and enjoy it. If you're a fan of pro wrestling, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be from Indiana, right? Because let's face it, a lot of these guys, these current and future talent guys, they're all over the place, right? There's a good chance they're going to be in your area, wherever it might be. So just get to know them now. Get to know the past. Like I said, subscribe to us on YouTube. Check out those WWA episodes that we're putting up. Great, great stuff. We do thank you for joining us. We thank you for helping us, for sharing these things. Go to iTunes. If you joined us on iTunes, go and give us a rate and review. Subscribe to us wherever you do. Make sure you share all of our posts. If you need to find all of our social media links, our Amazon.com affiliate links, our HighSpots.com affiliate links, go to DaveDynasty.com. That's the hub where you can find it all from all of our past episode links and everything else. And while you're there, click on the Pro Wrestling Tees link and, hey, buy a shirt, right? We're going to got some new shirts coming up we're working on and we're going to put up. But, hey, buy them and whatever else. Next week we have another great episode. I'm actually, on a personal note, I'm having a little neck surgery this week. Calling it a little, but it's kind of a major surgery, right? I'm having some fusion done. So we're going to pre-record next week's episode as well and get that in the bank. So we got the next 2 weeks we got great episodes. They're going to be on time. We're not going to miss a beat. We're just kind of pre-recording them so that, while I'm recovering in that initial, we're good. So next week we have another legend. We have one of the most underrated men in Indiana wrestling history and all pro wrestling history. We have got the great, great Greg Lake on next week. You don't want to miss this interview. This guy has done it all, and you've never heard of him, so it's time you have. The man needs his props, right? So that's a great interview. You got to check out next week. And then in 2 weeks, we have an up and coming star, one of those future talents we talk about. Here from Indiana, School of Rock graduate, have mercy, Percy Davis will be on in 2 weeks. You don't want to miss these episodes. Next week, Greg Lake. 2 weeks, Percy Davis. Hey, right now, though, you just heard Bobby Colt. Check out the archives for all the past guys, all the future and young talent, all the legends. Check out the YouTube for the WWE episodes, right? Spread the word about Indiana Pro Wrestling. We're going to get out of here. Everybody have a good week. We'll see you next week with that Greg Lake interview. Everybody out there, be safe, be good, be independent, and keep on growing. Thank you, guys.